So Sharon, what we know about, or what I know about this is that this is Idris Elba on a plane from Dubai to London. It's in real time, a la 24. So essentially, yeah, yeah, and stuff happens. But go ahead.
Yes, this is an Apple TV production. I'm trying to think whether it's 6 or 7 parts,
I think it's
something
eight.
like that.
It's
Eight
it's
parts. That
yeah,
that makes sense. Yes, as you said, it's a flight from Dubai to London. Idris Elba is a corporate negotiator where he goes in to sort of settle disputes in house and tries to get, when there's like hostile takeovers, that sort of thing. He's the guy they send in to sort of like, sort things out. And he's flying back to London to sort of he's estranged from his wife and he's got a teenage son and he's sort of he wants to get back to see if he can sort of make things a bit better with his relationship with his wife, even though she's moved on and she's got a new partner. And her new partner happens to be a police officer in the Metropolitan Police.
mhm.
And so, yeah, Idris is on the plane, and then something happens where basically the hijack gets brought forward. Someone, oh, I know, it's not a bit of a, no, it's not a spoiler because it's in the very beginning, of the very first episode. There's loads of people on the plane. One of them goes into the loo and they find a bullet, and this basically causes like a quite a kerfuffle on board with the security.
Yeah,
And then the pilot has to announce, yeah, we've got a security situation on board. And then the hijack, instead of it being timed that it would be done like 2 hours outside of London, suddenly it's perhaps the timetable is brought forward and it's literally within an hour of taking off, they suddenly have to escalate the hijack and then take over the plane. And so this is like hour number one, where the hijack takes place, where a group of hijackers, armed, and you see how they get the guns on board. That's explained. They take over the plane, and
yeah,
then over the next episodes, it's basically how this hijacking unfolds. Um, and you see it from on the ground. You see
yep.
the motivation behind it. There's a couple of twists and turns all the way through where you think, okay, we know where this is going, and then something happens. So, oh, okay, that adds a little element to it. So there's a few twists and turns, but it is basically Idris Elba on the plane trying to sort things out while people on the ground running around, trying to do their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Go. Oh,
it was.
so yeah. So I was gonna say. So what do you think?
I thought the drama could have ended in the first hour. You just don't open the cockpit. I was watching this with my brother. When there's a hijacking, you just don't let the hijackers into the cockpit. You just don't do it. You lock it. There's a reason why they have sort of security on board so that they can't get in the cockpit and take the pilot hostage and have the whole plane at their mercy. So the drama would be over within half an hour. But in this instance, there's reasons why the pilot lets them in, and then they are able to take over the plane. And there's for us. I mean, I watched it with my brother. We found it a little bit ludicrous. I know the
Okay.
premise of there's certain things that they do, the hijackers do, certain things that the people on board do that you think that just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen that way. And so I think us that put a bit of a damper on it. And then towards the end, again, we were like going, that just wouldn't happen. There's protocols for when these sort of things happen, and there's things that you always do, and they just didn't do them. So you're thinking that you don't have to be an expert in international hijacking to know. Um, for example, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but there's certain things that towards the end where there's a bit of drama, and you're thinking, well, that just wouldn't happen. That just would not be possible with the way that they would handle the situation. So I found it ludicrous. I think it's very well done, high production values, good cast, well acted, for all that it was nonsense. But we just found it just wasn't credible. For us, we were just saying that just wouldn't happen.
Must be the credibility thing must be contagious then, eh?
Yeah, I know, because you don't mind drama, and you've seen sort of
Mm.
hijackings in them before, but most of them are like, there's a reason why a lot of them are, well, they were in the 70s, early 80s, was because, 9/11 hadn't happened then.
Mhm.
So the way people conduct themselves on planes is very different. So
Yeah.
when you do like a 1970s style hijacking, it just doesn't work because, everything is geared up to stop planes, flying over capital cities, for example, and there are protocols in place that even if someone says, "Oh, we think there's a security issue," if someone then says, "Oh, it's okay, there's a misunderstanding," as you were, no one would. It would still have all
Yeah,
the time. So.
Yeah, because everything I've heard about this, it sounds like it's along the lines of that. What they're trying to do with this is, it's the word propulsive gets used a lot. Like, and we're talking about this show, that it's just sort of like, okay, get to the next episode, get to the next episode. Don't think about it, just go to the next episode. Yeah. So, and it seems like it's more about the propulsion than it is about the logic. But obviously, we all have the things that we watch where we can't get past the logic. We can't.
I think that's what we struggle with. But my brother and I, we bought the episodes. We did say, should we just watch them all? So we did sit and we watched the whole lot. So I think you can't fault the acting, because they all did a good job. They all were competent. Their drama's good. The plane looked very realistic. All the effects looked really realistic, but it was just ridiculous. So I would probably sort of have to give it like 2. I think for production values, it's really good. It was like a 4, really well done. But for me, it was probably a 2, because I just thought some of those things just wouldn't happen, and for me, it just was like, it's nonsense. So I thought it was excellent. I thought it was very well done for what it was, but the story just let it down. It was just like, no, that's just not going to happen. And when we both of us found ourselves doing Shawnee, we were like shouting at the screen at some point. We were saying, we know exactly what's happened here. We said, you know what's happened here? It's no mystery. There's no drama, because we know exactly what's happening. And then afterwards they go, ta-da! It's like, we know.
We told you that.
We spotted that from a mile. It's just obvious. Some of the things are like obvious. So I would say I'd have to give it a 2.
A 2. You have to give it a 2. All right, cool. 2 for Hijack.